All right, we're here with track and field head coach Chris Woods. Coach, you're headed to Michigan this weekend. Tougher competition level probably than some of the previous meets. What are you looking for from your team this week?
Yeah, definitely a little bit more stiffer competition, which is what we need at this point of the year. We got a couple of ranked teams, I think, on both the men's and the women's side that are nationally ranked. So it's going to be exciting for the kids on the team to compete against those individuals and those teams. It's going to be a really good evaluation for the coaching staff to see where we stack up against those ranked teams, to see how our kids compete after an off week, getting some rest and getting some solid training in, which is really important to us and the developmental process. So I'm excited to see where we are at this point of the season. This is going to be our midway point as we make our build up into the SEC championship.
You've got an All-American in Deshawn Devreaux who's going to kind of get back to his main event this week in the 800.
Yeah.
Are you excited to see kind of how he can finish out his career as a senior?
Sure. I mean, I think Deshawn Devreaux is in a really good position as far as training. His big thing this weekend is just executing the race plan that we're going to have in place for him. But that 800 meter group, I think, can have a really good opening. And I'm not saying that they're going to go and just set the world on fire, but I do think Dejan can have one of his fastest openers that he's ever had. I think Charlotte Caden Smith can have one of her fastest openers that she's ever had. So I'm really excited for that 800 meter group, especially with the competition that we're going up against. These other schools and these other universities and programs, they have a really strong middle distance and distance programs. So I'm excited to see how our middle distance and distance program stacks up against those really historic programs in those particular events.
You mentioned the distance group, and last week they had some big PRs, or 2 weeks ago when you were at Vanderbilt. I know that something you've been trying to work on throughout the season is kind of getting that DMR just right.
Sure.
How does that group, or what can that group take out of a meet with these other big distance, middle distance programs?
Well, I think Coach Patrick McGregor has been doing a great job with his kids and developing them. This sport, a lot of your success is determined on your confidence. And whenever you go into an early season meet and you get a personal best, that boosts confidence. And then you go into training with a little bit more vigor. You go into training with a little bit more oomph, And so I'm excited. I know they're excited because they know that they're going to run up against some stiff competition. And what it does for the DMR, we're going to continue to develop that because I think that's going to be one of our better events at our conference championship meet. And this meet gives us an opportunity to put more development. Even though we're not running that relay, it gives us an opportunity to develop it so as we move into the conference championship, we can really say, okay, this can be a really big event for us to where we can score some big points.
This is going to be the first week that we see the multis in a multi-event. I mean, they've been in a lot of action over the past 2 weeks. Some big PRs for a few of those kids. But what do you look for as they transition into now? They're doing the full pentathlon, the full heptathlon, instead of just 2 or 3 of those events.
Yeah. I think we have a couple of kids, and I'm not going to mention names. I don't want to put any undue pressure on them. But I think that's an event to where we can have someone qualify for nationals this weekend or SECs. I think we can have a national championship qualifying mark out of the multis. And I think that those individuals can move on to the national championship meet and score and become first-team All-Americans. So this is their first opportunity at doing that thing. This is one of the big intermediate goals for that group this meet because you only get a couple of opportunities to do a multi-event, both indoor and outdoor. And so you got to take advantage of every opportunity that you get. I'm really proud of how that group has been developing, especially when you talk about Jesse Henderson, who wasn't a multi-athlete out of high school. He was a 110 hurdler, and he did a couple other events here or there, but he was primarily a hurdler, and now he's taking on the multis, and I'm really excited to see how his first multi-event is going to go. I think Jesse can be a kid that if he continues to develop, if he continues to be focused in practice, he focuses this meet, he stays healthy, he can be a kid that out of nowhere can score some points at our conference championship. Shayla Broughton is a kid who you know, had the red shirt last year due to various injuries, and a lot of people doubted her, and she took it upon herself to prove doubters wrong, to say, hey, listen, when I'm healthy, I can do really special things. And I think that she knows that she can do those special things because her very first meet in the indoor season, coming off of a red shirt, her very first meet, I think she had 2 PRs. And that gives her confidence going into this meet. Like, hey, listen, I know I can be one of the best in the country at this event. And then you go on to Asia Poe, who was a national championship qualifier last year, who was an SEC scorer outdoors last year in the multis. I think she can be another one that not only scores big points, but she has the potential to do bigger things on a national stage. And then you got Alexandra Woodbury, who, again, really developmental student athlete, but comes to practice every day, grinds hard every day, and now she's going to have an opportunity to make her stake in this program and to say, hey, listen, like, I'm here to produce and to help this team reach the goals that we have in place. So I mean, that event is one that I'm really looking forward to, not only as a fan of this sport, not only as a fan of this program, but as the head coach. I'm really excited to see how our multi-student athletes are going to perform this weekend.
And then last thing, you mentioned in the first few weeks of the season how you were really focused on competing, winning your events, not so much performances.
Sure.
And you
Sure.
mentioned that now that we're kind of at the halfway point, it's going to shift a little bit to performances. What do you tell your student athletes going into this meet and then coming out of this meet as you look at performances?
Yeah. So you're not going to perform at a high level if you don't execute, right? So, as we go into these races, as we go into these field events, the jumps and the throws, I want each individual to execute race plans, execute throw plans, execute jump plans and approaches, and just execute that. And if you execute properly, like you do at practice every day, or you should do every day, as long as you execute at a high level, the performance will take care of itself. You understand? So that's going to be the message that we preach to the team this week as we move on into this meet. It's just to execute at the highest possible level, and the performance will take care of itself. This meet being where it is in the season, it really sets us up for the next meet, which is going to be another high-caliber weekend for us as we split the teams up, and then we take 2 weeks off or a week off, and then we go into the conference championship. So this is a really good meet to see where we are, where we stack up, not only nationally but within the conference as well.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.